1 year ago, I pressed record for the very first time, and I almost talked myself out of it. I remember thinking, who would listen to me? Do I even have anything worth saying? Am I really going to add one more thing to my already full plate? And yet, here we are 1 year, 52 episodes, 3,200 downloads, listeners from all over the world. And this podcast, it changed me in ways I never expected. And if you've been listening for a while, you already know this podcast has evolved just like I have. When I first started Struggle and Strength, Mom's Balancing It All with Nikki, it was raw. It was very imperfect and it was really real. My daughter was playing the intro on her guitar to introduce me. Then I shifted to me singing this song about the intro. And then I started doing the professional intro that everybody does. And now I don't even use one. Not because it doesn't matter, but because I finally realized my voice is the intro. This podcast was never about production value, it was about connection. In this past year, I've talked about things moms do not always say out loud: burnout, mom guilt, feeling invisible, feeling unvalued, kids struggling, marriage strain, school decisions, sports pressure, purpose, passion, identity. And I did not share those stories because I have all the answers. I shared them because I'm living them. And what I learned is this: when you tell the truth, people feel less alone. This podcast gave me something I did not know that I even needed. It gave me permission to show up imperfectly. I said that wrong. It gave me permission to show up imperfectly. There we go. Whew. It gave me confidence in my voice. It reminded me that my story has value. The best part about all of this was that I started my podcast because people kept asking me all the time, how do you do what you do? And not necessarily anything specific, like how do you do what you do as a pharmacist, or how do you do what you do as a business owner, or how do you do what you do as a mom? Like, it was just always, how do you do what you do? Because most people who listen to my everyday schedule, they're like, please stop. You're making me so overwhelmed right now, and it's not even my schedule. I have a certain way of living. It's always been me. I don't do anything for anyone else other than me and my family. And I don't know why that makes me unique. It's just who I am. And so I wanted to share who I was with the world so that maybe, just maybe, if I could help even just one person, then I did my job. Because my job is to support people in any way possible. And I feel like I do this on an everyday basis. I wake up and I want to please. I want my kids to feel valued. I want to take care of everything for my husband so he doesn't get stressed. I want to make sure that everybody that I talk to feels like they have purpose and value and direction. And I want to give everything I can to everyone. That's why I give 110% to anything and everything I do, whether that's cleaning the house or, taking the kids on a field trip with their school or showing up for my clients in their business or being the best mom ever that I could be. Or even just when my kids' friends come over, making sure that they have the best time of their lives. Because I'm a people pleaser. I want to make sure that everybody has a good time, that everybody gets what they want. And not necessarily what they want, but what they need. I said that probably in the wrong fashion. I'm not just like handing out, money or blocks of gold or food or, whatever it is that anybody asks for. Of course, is, what they need in that moment. For instance, my friend's son came over. My friend's son, that sounds really bad. That was not what I meant to say. My son's friend came over yesterday and we played darts. That was his very first time playing darts. Not only did we have an amazing time playing darts, but in darts, you have to calculate your score. And so I was helping him calculate the value that he threw on the board. And it wasn't just go calculate it by yourself. It's like, okay, let's think about what does this mean? Like, what's 3 times 17, and then add in your other numbers. And if he got it wrong, it wasn't like, wrong. It was like, okay, let's think about this here. What was that value again? Now, how do we add 10 more? Okay. I mean, my job is not a teacher, but I also want to make sure that I'm not just, letting him miscalculate and going on through life thinking that, he's got it right and he doesn't, and I'm not trying to give lectures or anything like that. Like we're literally just learning math, playing darts. And how fun is that? We put on his favorite song when he was playing to make him feel like less stressed and, supported. Did I have to do those things? No. Did I do them out of purpose so that he would go tell his mom, like, this is the best mom ever? No. I did it because that's how I treat my kids. If we play darts, they do their own calculations. We make sure it's correct. We play their songs so that they can get pumped up, ready to go in their zone, so that they feel special. And that's what I found is my superpower that with kids at least, I love working with kids. I love playing with kids, encouraging kids, empowering kids. Because I don't know, I guess throughout my childhood, there were some very rough rocks that I had to cross, but I also did have really good support from my family, and I want to give that to mine. I think I told you the story of when we went to the festival and I was in line with my daughter. I was the only parent there. And she, was like, Mommy, look at this. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, to make her feel so good. And then what happened? All the other kids in line were like, look at what I can do. Well, look at what I can do. Because they were looking for that same response, that they were valued, that what they can do was special. And that is what I am set out to do in life. I'm here to praise everybody else and be the cheerleader that I can be. And that's what I want this podcast to be. It is a resource for moms to understand, one, you're not alone. Two, what seems like perfection, which I am nowhere near perfection, but people always say, like, how do you do it? You make it look so easy. Like, I'm not saying that's perfect, but obviously there's something that they're seeing that I'm doing that they're wanting. Now, what that is, I have absolutely no idea. My life is so chaotic. We're in so many different places. I am stretched thin to the maximum, and maybe I just don't show it. Maybe that's it. Maybe I have a really good way of hiding that. But I want to share my story with the world so that other moms can realize, okay, maybe I need to try what she's doing. Or maybe I don't need to do what she's doing because it's just too overwhelming. Everything in my stories are here to help others. And what I didn't realize was friends, family, kids, moms, All the above. They were reaching out saying, "Oh my gosh, I love your podcast. I listen to it all the time. It gives me so much hope and help and support in ways that I didn't even know possible." And I had no idea that these people were going to be listening. I thought no one literally would be listening. I thought I would be having like one download a week, and probably that would be my mother-in-law because she's so sweet. But it showed me something powerful, that consistency creates confidence. When I started my podcast, my goal was to start it in October. I didn't. And then I went to the conference that changed my world in November. It was all about, podcasting, and I think it was called It's Her Turn Summit by Kathy Heller. And that gave me the confidence to finally believe in myself. That was my turning point in my life where I finally started betting on myself. And from there, I decided before the end of the year, I was going to start my podcast. And here I am 1 year later. I didn't wait until I felt ready, and I didn't wait until it was perfect. I started and I've grown over the year. And here's why this episode, it's not exactly about me. It's all about you. Because if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I really want to start something, but I have no idea how. I hear that all the time. I have a pharmacist mom side hustle group in Facebook. And one of my questions to join the group is, what's your biggest challenge right now, in starting a side hustle? Most of the moms either put time or I don't even know where to start. And it's not that I did. I had no idea. I was jumping from job to job. I was trying to create my own business, not knowing where to start. When I first started my business, I thought I was going to be doing something for moms, exactly kind of what this podcast was. But I was going to be, I was trying to write a book, and I was going to have like a course on how to create independent children. I still want to do that. But there's lots of different ideas that I had. My mind was going every which direction, and it still is. I have several different businesses that I'm doing simultaneously. Some are producing, income right now, and some I'm just in the building stage, and that's okay. Because I'm actually taking action and I'm testing. Because starting something isn't about having all the answers. When you first had your first child, I guarantee you did not have all the answers. I sure as heck didn't. We were in the hospital, and it was time to nurse my daughter, and I had never done that before. My mother did not nurse us. So I had nobody that could show me how to do it. And not even the nurses. I kept asking, like, am I doing this right? It doesn't feel right. It hurts like terrible. Oh my gosh. And then I was starting to bleed, and it was awful. I had no idea. And I was just crying because I was a brand new mom with no experience in being a mom. Babysitting is one thing. That's taking care of a child, A, that's not yours, and B, for just like an hour or two. It's not night and day, nonstop, having to feed this child that you've never done before, learning like, why are they crying at 2 o'clock in the morning? They've already been fed and changed. I can't get them to sleep. And I'm having to do these like Indian chants throughout my house just to get her to stop crying. And in the meantime, I'm going completely crazy thinking something's wrong with me. But it's that trial and error. We get so scared about starting something new because we're worried about what people are going to think of us. We're worried about, what if we fail? We're worried about, well, what if we lose money? Okay, let me tell you, having a child is the exact same fears. I have no idea what I'm doing. What if I fail as a mother? What if my child turns out to be this terrible child? What if I spend all this money? Like, I mean, taking care of a child, the diapers are so expensive. Formula, if you don't nurse, is expensive. Everything about babies is expensive. And on top of that, same thing. Like we always say to start something, we're like, I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. I'm too tired. It's too late. I'm not qualified. Same thing as a mom, right? I'm too busy. I work. I got all these things going on. How am I going to take care of this child? I'm too tired. The kid has me up all at all hours of the day. How am I going to continue to take care of it? I'm not qualified. I mean, who qualifies us as a mother? It just happens. So if you're thinking of starting something, think about how you became a mom. Just start something. And if it doesn't work out, start something different. And if that doesn't work out, try something else. I mean, I'm in my early 40s and I want to retire in the next 20 years. Is 20 years enough to start my own business? Yeah. I started my own business a year and a half ago and I'm already profitable. I just started. Imagine 20 years from now. So if you're in this position where you want something different in your life, you still have so much time. Nothing has to happen overnight. And I want you to hear this very clearly from me. I was all of those things. I wanted to start something I didn't know how. I was way too busy. I was exhausted all the time. I was not qualified. The difference is not talent. The difference is not time. And it is not confidence. The difference is that I took action. I started. So many of us moms pour into everyone else and we forget about ourselves. And this podcast taught me something I wish every mom understood sooner. When you build something of your own, something creative, something meaningful, something aligned with who you are, you feel alive again. It's like this power. Like you feel like you're superwoman inside. You remember your value. You remember your voice. You remember who you are outside of the roles that you fill on an everyday basis. So if this podcast has inspired you, even just a little, let this be your moment to shine. Start the podcast that you've always wanted to try. Start the business that you have in your head that you dream about at night. Start the blog that you want to write about on a daily basis and share with the world. Start the idea that keeps tugging at your heart. You don't have to know the full plan now. You just have to take the first step. And if I can do this with 3 kids, a full-time job, and a chaotic life, so can you. I want to thank every single person who has listened, shared, messaged me, or told me that this podcast helped them feel less alone. You're the reason this show exists. And if this episode encouraged you today, I want you to do one thing. Tell someone. Share my podcast. Subscribe. Or message me and tell me what you're going to start. Because your story matters. Your voice matters, and this world needs more moms who believe in themselves. So here's one more year to struggle and strength, moms balancing it all, and more years to come than just one. And to everything that is still ahead, I believe in you, mama. You need to start believing in yourself too.